This is National Open University of Nigeria tutorial. Today we will be giving attention to GST 201, Nigerian Peoples and Culture. My name is Dan Asukwo, your instructor. If you are a NOUN student or from any other universities, this will be very useful for you. Do well to share with others as well as on your study groups. If this is your first time of coming across our videos, why not do well to subscribe, like, comment, and share for others too to benefit. Today we will be discussing the Unit 4 titled Unit 4, The Peoples of Northern Nigeria and Their Culture in Pre-Colonial Times, Part 2. Contents: 1.0 Introduction, 2.0 Objectives, 3.0 Main Content, 3.1 The Igala, 3. 1.1 Origin of the Igala, 3. 1.2 The Socio-Political Organization of the Igala, 3.2 The Jukun, 3. 2.1 Origins of the Jukun, 3. 2.2 The Socio-Political Organization of the Jukun, 3.3 The TIV, 3. 3.1 The Origin of the TIV, 3. 3.2 The Socio-Political Organization of the TIV, 4.0 Conclusion, 5.0 Summary, 6.0 Tutor Marked Assignment, 7.0 References Further Reading, 1.0 Introduction. This study unit introduces you to the Part 2 of Northern Nigeria Peoples and Culture in Pre-Colonial Times. It will focus only on the last three ethnic groups found in the northern part of Nigeria, namely the Igala, the Jukun or Kwararafa, and the TIV. 2.0 Objectives. At the end of this unit, you should be able to identify the Igala, identify the Jukun or Kwararafa, identify the TIV, discuss their origins, explain their socio-political organization, explain the similarities and dissimilarities between them. 3.0 Main Content, 3.1 The Igala, 3. 1.1 Origin of the Igala. Like any other ethnic group in Nigeria, the origin of the Igala people is not clear. However, Idah has always been known as the capital state of Igala people. Abutu Eche version. History tells us that Abutu Eche was the first personality to seriously contribute to the development or evolution of the Igala state. Abutu Eche, sometimes identified as child reared by a leopard, Eje, or as a prince from Ado, Benin, or Apa Wukari Jukun, was a foreigner. According to the legend, the sovereignty was transferred to him from an aboriginal population, the Okpoto. Achadu version. Some Igala elites attribute the emergence of their state to one Achadu. He is believed to have come from the Igbo country. He married the Ata and later became a patron, ritual husband, and the leader of the kingmakers, Igala Mela, the Yoruba version. Some scholars also argue that the Igala are of a Yoruba extraction. Historical evidence exists to show that the territories of the Igala and some Yoruba-speaking peoples had been contiguous. Self-assessment exercise. Use your own words to discuss the origin of the Igala people. 3. 1.2 The Socio-Political Organization of the Igala. Ayagba or Idoko is best known as the ancestor to all the Atas. He is also credited to have founded the present Igala dynasty. History tells us that he was the one who helped the Igala people to break away from the Jukun rule. Politically speaking, each Igala Mela was the head of any effective Igala territory. His administrative power was like that of the Uzama Nihiron of Benin or the Oyemisi of the Yoruba. The traditional Igala political structure was operated on two levels. There was the central and the provincial level of administration. The Ata was head of the center. A council of chiefs and other officials assisted him in the local or provincial administration of the kingdom. Self-assessment exercise. What do you know about the socio-political organization of the traditional Igala people? 3.2 The Jukun, Kwararafa. 3. 2.1 Origin of the Jukun. Again, like other ethnic groups in Nigeria, the origin of the Jukun people is not fixed. The Jukun are also known as the Kwararafa. They are believed to have occupied the area between the river Benue and the river Ibi in Gongola state. Wukari was also known as the principal town of the Jukun people, and it is in that town that their king resided. The Jukun state was large. The Kano Chronicle version. The Kano Chronicle version was the most authentic source that could say something convincing about the Jukun history of origin. According to records from the Kano Chronicle, the Jukun people raided the Hausaland and Bornu in the 16th and 17th centuries. This shows that although the origin of the Jukun people was almost unknown, they were at least in existence before the 16th century or thereabouts. Self-assessment exercise. What do you know about the origin of the Jukun people? 3. 2.2. The socio-political organization of the Jukun. As said earlier, the Jukun state was certainly not a small state. This is one of the reasons why Jukun was seen as a confederation of peoples who recognized the religious supremacy of the AKU-UKA. History tells us that by the end of the 17th century, the Jukun had been well established in the Middle Benue region. The Jukun people operated a theocratic system of government. AKU-UKA was the head of any effective Jukun state. He was believed to be spiritually appointed and was regarded as the representative of the gods on earth. Although AKU-UKA was very powerful, his system of government was not despotic. He had no absolute power over his people. There were many ways of regulating his power. According to Jukun tradition, AKU-UKA was judged, for instance, by his performance. Result. Since he was the symbol of the Jukun existence, a good harvest could bring in more prestige, while a bad harvest could result in serious calamity, and thereafter his unpopularity and downfall. Also, there were many taboos which acted as checks on his royal power as well. Even as the head of the executive, legislative, and judiciary, AKU-UKA also ruled with the advice of his nobles and subjects. Public opinion was respected in Jukun pre-colonial administration. Achuo. He was the head of AKU-UKA's Council of Nobles. He functioned as the Prime Minister. He was seconded by the Abozaik, Kinda Achuo, and the AKU Nako. You should also remember that these nobles were representatives of their lineages as well. Self-assessment exercise. Use your own words to describe the socio-political organization of the traditional Jukun people. 3.3. The TIV. P. Bohannon, 1953. In his book, The TIV of Central Nigeria, classifies the TIV people as the largest single ethnic group in the Middle Benue Basin of northern Nigeria. According to him, the southern and eastern portions of the TIV country, also called Ityo Kitterach, lie among the foothills of the Cameroon Highlands and the Sonkwala or Sankwura Hills of the Obudu Hills territory. These regions are flanked by the Alago and Jukunized group on the north, the Basta and other Cameroon groups like the Undir and Iyon on the south and southeast, with the Jukun and Chamba to the west. Of course, they presently occupy the TIV local government areas of Buraka, Gaboko, Gwer West, Gumu, Kwande, Katasina Ala, Konshisha, Vandekia, Ukun, Ushonyo, and Mukurdi. 3.1. Origin of the TIV. Needless to say again that the origin of the TIV people is not certain. What we know about their origin came from oral traditions of myths and legends and theories of migration. TIV version. According to the TIV oral tradition, it was TIV, as a person, that founded the TIV ethnic group of today. So the word TIV refers both to the language and founding father of the group. Swem version. Other traditions argue that earlier settlements of the ethnic group came from Swem down to their present location through Nwanga and Ibinda, and this occurred between the 16th and 17th centuries. Self-assessment exercise. Discuss the origins of the traditional TV ethnic group. 3.2. The socio-political organization of the TIV. Again, P. Bohannon, 1953, argues that the socio-political system of the traditional TV was very unique. It was a classic example of segmentary or largely decentralized system of government in pre-colonial and post-colonial Nigeria ever studied. Sombor. Sombor was the name of the family group and was the largest recognized entity as well. Mbavesan, elder. Mbavesan or elder was the head of a unit. You should remember that in TIV traditional system, each family group was in turn divided into smaller units. You should also remember that the TIV attached much importance to the spirit of brotherhood and mutual relations because of the belief that all of them were from one father and therefore from one lineage. For Bohannon, 1953, the TIV socio-political structure was so simple that it was difficult to understand. According to him, TIV society was very much segmented. It was a hierarchical society. It started with the individual at the lowest level, the family, the extended family, the kindred, and through clan to TIV, that is the whole tribe. In TIV society, more than in any other Nigerian ethnic group, genealogical affiliation was very strong. Even today, in traditional TIV society, it is upon this kind of genealogical framework of hierarchy that kinship relationship is organized. Self-assessment exercise. Discuss the socio-political organization of the traditional TIV 4.0 conclusion. This study unit has dealt with the northern Nigerian peoples and culture, particularly in pre-colonial times. The Igala, Kwararafa, and TIV have been the main focus. 5.0 Summary. In this study unit, I introduced you to the Part 2 of the peoples northern Nigeria and their culture in pre-colonial times. I discussed and analyzed the last three major ethnic groups of the northern Nigeria, that is the Igala, the Kwararafa or Jukun, and the TIV. Therefore, at the end of this unit, you are expected to know who are the Igala, the Jukun or Kwararafa, the TIV. Discuss their origins. Understand their traditional culture or way of life. Understand their traditional socio-political organization. Know the similarities and dissimilarities among them, etc. 6.0 Tutor-marked assignment. 1. What do you know about the traditional Igala, Jukun, and TV? 2. Can you find any similarities or dissimilarities between them?